Okay, so let's talk for a minute about RNA processing. So after transcription happens in eukaryotes, so this does not happen in prokaryotes, but in eukaryotes, the RNA is going to be edited in a process called RNA processing. This is happening within the nucleus of eukaryotes. So let's start with some RNA. So this is our pre-mRNA or our primary transcript. So the first copy, primary transcript of the RNA that was copied from the DNA by RNA polymerase. So we call this pre-mRNA. Now some editing that's going to happen, there's going to be three things. The first thing is we're going to add a modified guanine, a 5' cap. Now this is going to help with the 2 ribosomal subunits coming and attaching to begin translation. Then there are these areas called introns that are intervening sequences, and they're not expressed. They don't code for the protein. So these introns are in the way and they're going to be spliced out. So we're going to remove some sections called introns. So now our RNA is going to get shorter. So we remove introns and we splice together exons. So now we have a shorter mRNA. Now I want to be clear, this is part of RNA processing. Now how we edit the pre-mRNA into mature RNA as far as like which exons are kept. Now we can change the exons that stay. That's called alternative RNA splicing. And I have a second video on that. So RNA processing is just this idea of removing introns and splicing together exons. Now, alternative RNA splicing is how we can make changes to this to produce a variety of proteins. So be careful if you're writing an essay or an FRQ question. There are differences. And then our last thing is we're going to add a polyadenine tail. So many adenine nucleotides, a poly A tail, will be added. This is to help extend the life of the mature mRNA within the cytoplasm. And so there will be hydrolytic enzymes that start to degrade the mRNA, breaking off these adenines, but it's kind of like just a protective end. Now, let me summarize. This mature mRNA is now going to leave the nucleus and enter into the cytoplasm where it'll come in contact with the ribosome, whether it's on the RefYAR or the free-floating cytoplasmic ribosomes. Now, this RNA processing to start with pre-mRNA or the primary transcript to make mature mRNA does shorten our eukaryotic mRNA and happens in the nucleus and does not happen in prokaryotes. All right, great job.